Hello guys, welcome back to the Profit Madness channel. My name is Alex, and before I start, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to not miss out on this content. Let's just make a recap of what has happened. Okay, um before, okay, besides this video over here, which I'm gonna address in a second, okay, and this video right here, you can actually go back from this video and pretty much, if you want, go and double check what I'm about to say. But I've been openly extremely bullish, okay, pretty much for the entirety of the time, as things were not really looking that good. Okay, you guys can see that, I was calling for all season to have started. I've been very bullish. 3 weeks ago I made this video, but it's I've been saying this stuff for quite some time. Okay, here I said that the bottom is almost in. Turning point is looming. Is the bottom in? I've been saying a lot of bullish stuff. Okay, throughout the last few months, pretty much. Okay, but as we headed into this week, okay, ever since this video, more specifically this one right here, I started to show you guys some concerns, particularly with this week, which is the reason why I've titled this video right here is a crypto black swan coming next week, which is the current week in which we're in. Okay, and I doubled down on that on this video right here, because to me, I said that this is an important week for me, because to me it is not just technical analysis that is important, but I take into consideration other things, which, from an esoteric point of view, it is information that is to be deemed as valuable, because that's where we can actually understand the directions that the elites may want to be taking price towards to. Okay, and the reason why I'm mentioning this is because this week we have actually went through two very important dates. One of them is when C19 was declared a pandemic. Okay, that is March 11th. It's 6 years since that happened. Okay, six is a very important number when you're looking at the esoteric type of stuff. But one thing that also happened 6 years ago, precisely on March 12th, if I recall correctly. Let me actually double check by going on Bitcoin chart, but I'm pretty sure that is the case. March 11th, March 12th, sorry. March 12th is the date where we had a significant market crash, and that is yesterday was just a 6 year anniversary since that has happened. Okay, so while I've been openly bullish throughout this entire time, as we headed into this particular week, okay, I started to look at things from another perspective, uh, in a for a temporary window, which is pretty much this week, okay? And I'm still a little bit unsure about the direction of the market, and I'll show you guys why. Um, but let's get straight into the charts, the USD dominance chart. So in the previous videos, which is the reason why you shouldn't miss them, and the reason for you that you should be subscribing. I actually gave you guys this projection here on the USDT dominance chart, where I was calling for the breakdown, the retest, okay, to happen, which is exactly what happened. And this is where I told you to go and look for longs. Of course, it's the USDT dominance chart. This trades against crypto, so we wanted to see a short. Okay, this is exactly what is currently happening. Okay, and you can see that as of right now, we've actually managed to wipe this low right here. Okay, this is the low, the foundation of this move to the upside. This is starting to show weakness on the USDT dominance chart, which is why you're seeing bullishness coming back into the crypto market. Okay, if you go and check the videos, okay, I actually broke that down. I gave you guys that heads up as to what I was thinking that it was going to happen. Now, the reason why I personally chose to close my swing longs, okay, this particular week, is because of what may have arisen, okay, and what could potentially still rise because the week is not over yet. Okay. And to me, let me be clear, to me, tomorrow is a very important date. Because if tomorrow we were to see a rejection, okay, right now Bitcoin is trading at 72,656. But as I will show you guys later, we are still at a level of resistance, which is a level of resistance that I was talking about, guys, to my premium community, which if you guys are interested in learning more about, there is a Discord link right here. If you guys want to see my portfolio, my coins, how much I've invested in each coin, my entry prices, and you want to get all of my trades and exit signals, then check out the link down below. You can subscribe to our premium group. This is going to be the best deal that you can get right now. The prices will go up very soon. We want to lock in as many people as possible before the old season starts, because once the old season starts, guys, it will be too late and it will be time to sell, not to buy. So make sure to join Profit Magnets as soon as possible. Get in, secure your spot, and make this your life-changing cycle. I was warning them of this particular gap in the chart ever since we have created it, since pretty much the beginning of April, when we started to see this bottom year being found and we started to move up. I expressed my concerns and I said that this gap right here at some point will be revisited. Lo and behold, at some point we did indeed, okay? But as you guys can see, if you were to use this level as a support and resistance, okay, what do you see? We pretty much failed to find support before. And now what we have had is, a retest of this level as a resistance. We broke back down. Now we are retesting once again. And at this moment, at least based on what it's currently happening, okay, we are still finding resistance. Now, this does not necessarily mean that we cannot go any higher, okay? But the question is, will we hold that level as a support? So at this moment, I'm choosing to stand still on the leverage trades. I am completely unfazed when it comes to my spot positions. Okay, I was buying as this situation was arising. I was buying uh, as things were not looking too good. I was buying when things were going down. Okay, so I don't care about spot, man. I'm just gonna hold my altcoins. Okay, I'm just gonna hold them. I don't need to worry about any short-term moves. Whether we see the wipe of the slow or whether we go up. If we go up, I already know where I'm going to be selling them. Okay, so don't twist what I'm saying, because what I'm what I um my opinion for this particular week does not absolutely affect the way that I am still looking at the market, because I am still bullish. I'm still looking for everything to happen this year. I'm still expecting to see an old season. I'm expecting all these great things to happen this year regardless, okay? I'm just speaking about the short term in which we're currently in, okay? So on the USDT dominance chart, okay, I'll show you guys the levels that we currently are facing. This is the situation. So we got two bearish trailing channels. So on the USDT dominance chart, guys, we have quite a bit of resistance here, which is the reason why you're kind of see this deviation now, okay? And this is how potentially dops are being formed, okay? So this is a concept which, if you guys haven't seen already, I teach, for free, and both to and also on my premium Discord, which you guys again could find the link right here. But the mentorship 2025 is the playlist where you can learn more about my very own trendline channel strategy, but also my equilibrium zones, which is how I basically found this level. And not only that, I also have another chart on the USDT dominance chart, which is this level right here. This is a level that I created through equilibrium zones. And as you guys can see, we are having quite a bit of a reaction in this area. This is a very important level, guys, in which we're in. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys what I'm seeing. So in terms of current levels of resistance based on today's data, the cool thing about my system is that you have dynamic levels of support and resistances. Okay, this means that you don't necessarily, well, you just basically move things, okay, and you align with when it happens. It's a very simple way, in my opinion, to trade, to each its own, but I really like this way of doing things. So your nearest level of support is 6.7 to 6.6%. Okay, this is the more precise levels that you may want to pay attention to. Otherwise, one level that you may want to pay attention to will definitely have to be this trend right here, which still aligns pretty much with this area. So I'm not even gonna keep this trend line. But this is your very important level of support on the USD dominance chart. Now, of course, we get here, prices will go significantly higher than where we are. Of course, we're not speaking about any new Bitcoin all-time high or anything like that. You're not gonna see that. I believe that Bitcoin has stopped, and I don't think that we will see any new all-time high on Bitcoin this year. That's why my bullishness only translates to all coins. Okay, so there's two things that could potentially happen here. Either we continue with this path, which is my projected path, okay, before this week, and we continue to the downside and fulfill this area. And from here, we evaluate on the idea of another potential push to the upside before potentially breaking back down. Things like this could still happen, okay? You still are potentially going to face fake outs, because let's look at things for what they are and see the situation that is currently arising with the Middle East. You know, things are not over. Prices are increasing. Inflation will increase. You know, there's still a lot of things we need to figure out, and you know, we will definitely see the effects of it. Okay, so there's still the chance that anything that we're seeing right now is short term. So that's why I'm trading these levels. I don't care necessarily about um, diving too deep into what is happening on the macro scale. I'm just focusing at this moment on tracking level by level. Okay, that's kind of the approach that I choose to have at this moment. Another thing that could potentially happen, guys, here is if we are building a structure, okay, we could definitely push back up into this area of resistance, potentially reject back down and continue down lower. But another thing that could potentially happen is that if we break out significantly, we could also hold this area as a support and continue to the upside and potentially go and target this high and also the all-time high on the USD dominance chart. Okay, so there's quite a few variables as to what could potentially happen, and that mainly depends on the structure that you're going to be seeing probably from tomorrow. That's why I'm saying tomorrow is a very important day, because you know, if we were to continue down lower, that is a very good sign, because that could tell us that we should be expecting some more upside in the market. But if we start to see, you know, a bullish candle on the USD dominance chart tomorrow, that could actually shift the situation, at least in the short term, back to the downside in the crypto market. So this is a very important chart, guys. Pay attention to this stuff, okay? So the next chart that I have for you is the 2 to 3 minus Solana and BNB. So here, for example, we can see that the level of support is $564 billion. So the thing here is that there is a little bit of a structure, but this structure that you guys are seeing right here is the same structure that I was calling for in the previous videos, okay? That I've seen across all these different charts, which is the W formation. That is a double bottom. Okay, it's not perfect because this leg right here is definitely more developed than the right one that we're currently seeing. And situations like this, you know, if I were to give you guys rational point of view, can still lead into situations like this where we push up, we find resistance somewhere around this area, which as you guys can see is quite an important area, and then we push back down. Now, the pushback down could be back to a level of support, but it could also be for a little bit of a lower push. You know, things like this are completely valid. And in certain cases, they could also print an imperce head and shoulder, where you are going to be then seeing a situations kind of like this, where you have your left shoulder, your head, and right shoulder, and then you're going to be seeing the market pushing back up. So regardless of what happens, guys, I'm extremely bullish. Okay, it's just a matter of figuring how things are going to be playing out right now. Okay, because this structure here is quite weak on the daily, if I have to be completely honest. And on the weekly, it looks even worse. Okay, this is no structure. This is no proper pattern that confirms a bottom, and that's the reality of it. We spent too much time down here for me to even consider the idea of a V-shaped recovery. While it's not necessarily impossible, I think that it's not necessarily too likely either. Okay, so it's just a matter of seeing what we get here. We could get a push up into this area before reversing back down. At this moment, based on this chart, we're looking bullish. I think that if we can hold support, guys, look at my projection. My projection is that we are going to be hitting all-time highs before we have a significant correction back down, and before we actually go into a major cycle finale. Okay, this depends on how long it takes. Okay, it really depends on how long it takes, but I do see a lot of resistances up here. I think that we will revisit these areas. Okay, it's just a matter of understanding if the bottom is in for us to trigger that sort of a move, or if we have to go a little bit lower before we get that sort of a move. And the reality is that, the quicker we do so, the better, because that means that you no longer have to look too much to the downside. Pushing back up just to push down lower, that's a big psychological war that you're going to be having, especially if you don't sell. That's why I'm saying, look, it's a lot better if we go down now, because you're a lot closer to it. So if that were to happen, okay, you should not be scared. You should actually rejoice, in my opinion, because then you could say, okay, the worst is probably over. Now, the total two on this particular layout, I have a few layouts, guys, that I want to show you. So the total two, let me actually align this better with today. Tomorrow is going to be a little bit different, but just going to give you guys the levels that I see today. Levels of support 932 to 926 billion. I think that that's kind of likely that we will visit that area today, but anything is possible. So your level of resistance, guys, is 982. So why am I calling it resistance? Because truthfully, yes, we are currently above. Yes, we are currently experiencing somewhat of a breakout, but at the same time, you didn't close any candles above, and you didn't retest it. You didn't retest it as a support. So at this moment, I'm still gonna consider this level as a resistance. The thing about the total two, guys, and I'm gonna show you guys why Ethereum also has this problem right now. And the biggest asset that we currently have on the total two is Ethereum at the end of the day, hence why we are kind of seeing some similar patterns, right? Is that you have a resistance after a resistance. So you are requiring a major breakout for you to actually, get away from where you are. Okay, that's the best way for me to put it. Because if you manage to stay above $182 billion for the next 8 hours and 33 minutes, you still have 101 to 103 trillion dollars as your level, or as your next level of the resistance. Okay. In terms of trend lines, I do see some things that should make you pay attention to them. For example, this is a relative equal high wipe. Okay, this is where you will have your stop losses if you were short, and now they've been stopped out. But things like this could potentially create a rejection back down. Now, if that were not to be the case, okay, cool. You still have this trend line right here, which is still pointing to liquidity. It's also missing the third touch. So, this could potentially still see a move to the upside, which, as you guys can see, if it were to happen soon, it would also align with the level of resistance. And even if we were to do it some time towards the end of the month, that was still align with resistance. You have a little bit of things to get through. That's kind of the point. Okay, that's kind of what I wanted to show you guys on this particular layout. Now let's move on, because now we move to the contrarian layout. Okay, now the total one on the contrarian layout, I gave you guys this pattern again in the videos. Beautiful W formation. Now here on the daily, the structure looks a little bit better, which is kind of why you're seeing a decent jump on Bitcoin, to be completely honest. But on the weekly, guys, let's not assume that what you're seeing on the daily translates necessarily to the weekly at this moment, because it does not. The W formation and the first impulse to the upside, followed by a correction that I was anticipating. I did all of the stuff, guys, in front of you guys in the previous videos, is exactly what is currently happening. So now I'm definitely interested in seeing a breakout if we can get it. But then again, to me, the very important date is tomorrow. Okay, so let's see what happens, because from tomorrow we have a better understanding, in my opinion, if we can expect to see somewhere around $3 trillion next before we evaluate any sort of next correction to the downside or not. Okay, your current level of support is $2.26 trillion. Okay, tomorrow is going to be 2.26 trillion. So you also have this trend right here as your level of support. There's quite a bit of support, and things are lining for March 16th. Okay, just take this with just take this as you want. You know, alignments happen all the time. Okay, it doesn't mean that it has to happen. But currently your range is 2.9 to $3 trillion, all the way down to 2.26. Okay, you're in the middle of this range. This is your trading area. Okay, the structure suggests higher. Okay, currently that is what it suggests, and it could potentially align with this level of support that I'm speaking about on the USD dominance chart. The reason why you still want to be a little bit careful here is because on this other USD dominance chart that I have, you can see that we're still holding my equilibrium zone as a level of support. Okay. One thing that I've said ever since I showed you guys this particular level on the public YouTube channel is that at some point this will create a rejection back down. Okay. And I've also said that this system sometimes does this type of situations where, you know, the price breaks through a level of equilibrium, one of our equilibrium zones, just to then change the trend. Okay, so we could still see that move to the downside, guys, to around 6.59 to 6.47 according to this particular chart. Okay, here we have 6.73 to 6.64. Okay, so somewhere around that, give or take, I think that it makes sense. I think that it's really aligned. Okay, this would be a pretty important area to start considering if we get here. Okay, start to consider a potential change of trend. Okay, from here, you know, we could reverse back down, we could push back up. Before we reverse back down, you know, there's different things that could potentially happen. Okay, but we will see. Okay, part of me still wants to believe that regardless of what we do over here, and this is something that didn't come out now because of this week. If you actually go and watch the previous videos, if you are in premium and you watch the previous videos, you even, I mean, premium people in premium, they already know this stuff. Okay, you know, to me, I always consider it quite important that we should, I think, towards the end of April or maybe around May, maybe we will see. Could even be in the summer. We should start to prepare to go back down afterwards. Okay, so I'm sensing a short window of opportunity. That's kind of what I'm seeing. But be careful. You know, take it for what it is. It's a short-term window of opportunity, maybe. Okay, and that is, of course, if we don't break down significantly from tomorrow. So again, what I'm using as a checklist is tomorrow's price action. If it's bullish, okay, we should expect to see higher prices for a little bit longer. If we are getting bearish, guys, that could potentially shift things. Okay, but it's not going to be a shift for the worse. Okay. I wouldn't consider it that. And then I think that what happens here is probably stuff that happens in Q4. Okay, if you wanted to know. So we will see. I don't think that Trump wants to go into midterms as a pro-crypto president with a bad-looking crypto market, but that is just me. I don't know. Moving on, we got a total 2. So guys, as I was showing you guys on the other layout, there is a little bit of resistance here on the total 2. It's not gonna be super easy. You know, we could get to 104. Here, for example, I was showing you guys 101 to 103. You know, give or take, you are pretty much there, right? But then again, unless you have a serious breakout, okay, which will still lead to 1.25 to potentially 1.32, you could get a rejection here, okay. And the reason why I have this pattern here, it wasn't originally like this. This is stuff that I've actually started to show you guys. I think from this video right here. I could be wrong. Maybe it's this one, but I think it should be this one right here. So here, what happened is, why did I shift my projection from a W formation that actually looks something like this to what you guys were seeing before? It's because, I mean, look at the price action. You didn't get what I showed you guys right here, right? You didn't get the breakout. You didn't get the retest of this level right here, which is the middle point of the W formation. That's kind of the highest point that it goes to when it's forming that sort of a pattern, right? You didn't get it, right? Matter of fact, you found the resistance exactly where this middle area right here found resistance before. I mean, look at the precision, right? You know, how can I be super bullish? Sure, a breakout will definitely happen, okay? It could definitely happen, but you know, this is not necessarily showing the biggest of strengths, okay. And I want to be completely honest with you guys, it's not really looking like that at this moment. That's why I'm still entertaining potentially an inverted and shoulder formation to be happening very soon. You know, this could happen, for example, on the weekly time frame. You know, that would make sense. So that's the total two for you guys. Let's move on to the total three. On the total three, guys, now you're still waiting to see a breakout. It's a similar situation to the total two if you think about it, and that is because you know you have coins like XRP, you have coins like Solana, all these coins that have outperformed pretty much the vast majority of the altcoins. I think that most of them, not all of them, okay, I don't want to say all of them, but a good chunk need to get the capital that it's inside of it, inside of these tokens. They need to get rinsed so that the money can flow into coins that provide a better risk on investment, okay, return on investment, sorry. um, and that's why these charts look the way that they look, okay. The W formation didn't break out. That doesn't mean that you cannot go any higher. It just means that the pattern is not necessarily looking extremely strong. Okay, there's quite a lot of uncertainty here. It's looking decent, okay, for a short-term break. But then again, look at this trend line: first touch, second touch, third touch. This is not something that I teach in premium, right? The third touch of the trend line. You know that this is likely going to create a rejection back down. That's why I'm saying tomorrow is a very important day. Okay, so your level of support, if you lose 700 billion dollars, is going to be 606 as of today, but from tomorrow it's 604. If you break above this trend line, your first level of resistance is 758 billion dollars, and if you manage to hold the 727, which is currently where you're at, then potentially we could get into a situation where, you know, just like this, you could potentially see the break to the upside. But then again, guys, it's not guaranteed. It's not looking necessarily too perfect. This pattern right here is taking too long. Okay, it's looking too spread out. Okay, strong W formations. Even this one right here, which was within a downtrend. Okay, you guys can see how it was. W formation pushed to the upside that has pretty much taken out even slightly, you know, even slightly the highest point in which you went to when you were making the formation in the first place. This is more than enough, but you're not getting it right now. Okay, you see what I'm trying to say? Here, for example, what did you do? Take out the high, first retrace, continuation. Okay, this is the pattern, right, that you are seeing, guys. It's the pattern that you're seeing. What is it? Total one, I think. Let me go and check. There you go. You guys are seeing this pattern here, but on the total 2 and the total 3 so far, you're not seeing it. I will address what this means in a second. You guys want to see Bitcoin dominance? Okay, I will touch on that in a second. Okay. So the other chart now, this one. So look, you're spiking. Okay, it's looking pretty okay for a potential breakout. Notice I didn't say primed for a breakout. Because look at it for what it is. Third touch on the trend line, significant rejection. This could potentially even close below this trend line. Before you know it, tomorrow is a down day. You know, you have created a decent pattern, but so far you didn't see any breakout. This is because Bitcoin is still leading. That's why you're seeing the Bitcoin dominance moving up. That's how you make sense of all this noise. You gotta take into consideration what is currently happening. So before I talk about Bitcoin, I'll show you guys Solana, because Solana here, you know, I was long from the bottom. You know, I gave you guys this long on the video. I showed you guys that I was long. I actually closed this at a profit. Now, the reason why I closed is because, well, it's not necessarily the worst pattern that I've seen. Is it one of the best? No. Okay. I think that the total one chart pattern is definitely looking a lot better. This is not terrible, okay, because the W formation is something like this at this moment. Here, for example, you can see that you have taken out this side right here. You then add the pullback, which is exactly what I'm showing you guys. This is your level 2 push to the upside, which is very, very weak. You wanted to see expansion, okay? You should have seen expansion, you didn't get it. So this is level 2 retrace. Now level 3 should be taking out this high, okay, but afterwards it's very likely that here you will see a M formation, also known as a double top. You may also even potentially see an inverse, a head and shoulder formation, but for now I'm gonna depict the M formation. Okay, and this is because, okay, if the market were to roll over, okay, look at where you're pushing up to. 95.38 is where you have created this wick, for example. If I were to create a zone, an hypothetical zone, and this is some of the stuff that I use when I like to create some certain specific zones, which I'm not going to be explaining in this video, but I like to take into consideration the wicks. So let's just say that, okay. This could be a level where you may potentially start to see a rejection. You are almost there. Okay, so I think that it's still a very important week. Okay, yes, we pushed up, but you're in a situation where, for how bullish I am, I understand that this is still we're still in a situation of a lot of uncertainty. Okay, I have reasons to consider a move to the upside, but I still have reasons to believe that we may be seeing a move to the downside. That's how it is. Okay, that's how it is right now. So, you know, if we move up, your target is definitely $122. That's kind of the level that I was giving you guys since this bottom over here. Okay. And your level of support is 76.63. This is a projection that I gave to Premium back in March of 2025. Sorry, in May of 2025, where I was expecting to see this move to the upside, followed by a significant correction. So far, so good. But guys, this is definitely a possibility. We could definitely push back down to $58. Okay, down to 58 to potentially even $19. That will be a significant capital outflow. That is what I said should be happening from coins that pump before the rest of the coins. Right? You need to balance things out. I want to see that. Okay. So I can already explain, guys, what to look out for here on the USD dominance chart. So I'm gonna show you guys Bitcoin. Okay. So the thing about Bitcoin here is, as you guys can see, I think that we went down as I was making this recording, and to me, a very important level. Yeah, we definitely went lower. Yeah, because you know we almost pushed up to what, $74,000 today, and now we are 72. Why do you think that I made this label right here, this price label right here? Well, because of something called a range. So the range that I'm seeing here is looking something like this. Now, this range is very likely not to be correct. Let me just say that, because it's very, very few the times where you see a situation like this, where you break out of a range, you push back down as you should, okay? Because on ranges, you gotta watch out for where the first break happens. And here, if the first break happens to the upside, you're looking for the next break to up to the downside before a resumption of the trend. Here, instead, we've had a situation where price has tried to break out once again. So this tells me that this range is either one of the few exceptions where it does something unexpected, or it's very likely that this range is not correct. But the point remains the same. You're spending quite a bit of time for the range in which you're in. Okay, you're spending quite a bit of time in the premium and not enough time in the discount. This is a lot of selling to me, in my opinion. Okay, if I want to be completely honest with you guys, this looks like a lot of selling. Now, the point of control is back down to 67K. That's why you're seeing a lot of price spending quite a bit of time here. Okay, value area high is 69.8 and value area low is 65.8. If we are to see a rejection, it's very likely that you will see a drive towards 67.3. Okay, now if you lose that, of course you're going to be revisiting 65.8, and if you lose that, guys, I think that we may potentially even consider a new low. Okay, and that's not me being dramatic. It's just me analyzing the situation for what it's currently doing. Okay, I honestly look. The reason why I was long in the first place because I was expecting us to get into these areas right here. Like I don't want to say by now because that's not necessarily the truth. But I was expecting us to initiate this move that you guys are seeing happening right now a lot quicker, if I have to be completely honest. The fact that we are spending, time, developing this range, spending all this time, kind of makes me want to think that there could be something else going on. Okay, that's why I'm looking at this range as potentially being one of the few times where the range doesn't necessarily act as it or as it should most of the time. Okay, um so yeah, that's kind of what I want to say about Bitcoin. So the reason why I made this label right here is because that's the highest point of what is an hypothetical W formation here. And if you reject and if you find resistance right here, guys, that's not a good sign. That's a lot of weakness, and this W formation was essentially a bull trap. Okay, that's why I had it this label right here. What you want to see, if you want to see the continuation, is this, where you have your first leg, then the right leg of the W formation, the push to the upside, a retrace, breakout, higher low, push to the upside. Okay, that's kind of what you want to do. And we do have charts that, as I showed you guys, do suggest the possibility of us pushing higher. And again, it all goes back to seeing what tomorrow's candle brings. Okay, but a wick like this, okay, while wicks, especially big wicks, tend to be recovered, it's not necessarily a good sign, because it suggests that even if we were to continue to the upside for now, it still tells us that you are going to see the exhaustion of the buyers here, and sellers are just trying to sell. You shouldn't have this much of a wick so frequently. Okay, it tells me that something is breaking, and Bitcoin, I believe, has stopped. Like I said before, I have a situation where it could potentially go slightly higher than the all-time high. I don't necessarily think that is necessarily going to be the case for this year. We will see. I don't think that it's going to be the case. I believe that it has stopped. Okay. So once again, watch out for this level. I really want to see the breakout. If you get the breakout, you could potentially consider a higher low before a continuation higher. Moving on to the Bitcoin dominance. So I said in the previous videos that I want us to get to this trend. It's taking its sweet time. I think that this just goes to show how important getting to this trend is for the market, because if you push into this trend line, you could also even get a little bit higher to this trend line channel. But to me, hitting these regions right here marks where the shift towards the altcoins can actually potentially happen. Okay, you guys can see that, I've been tracking this for quite some time, and price is just, the dominance is just taking its sweet time to get here. So I think it's all by purpose. Okay, Ethereum. So once again, found resistance at my level of resistance. How surprising, right? Find resistance on one of my trend lines. So again, it's a situation that I said on the Tutul 2. It's a situation that I showed you guys on the Tutul 3. There is a lot of resistance, okay? There is a lot of resistance here. You need to see a significant breakout or you're not going to be able to get to 2,500 on Ethereum. So, patterns like this, it's the same situation as Solana, if you think about it, where, you're it's kind of that shy move to the upside, where you kind of have your double information here, and then yeah, you have validated it by having this push to the upside that has taken out this high right here. Then you have the higher low, and now you kind of want to take out this high. Potentially, yes, it could lead to expansion, but it could also lead to something like this, where before you know it, it pushes you back down. You you have created a gap here. This is not good. This is cryptocurrency. How come you're getting gaps? I'm sure that this is not the case with every single chart, okay? But on a chart like Binance, this gap is going to be recovered. This gap right here is going to be recovered, and so is this one, okay? So pay attention, because these are the clues, and this turnover here is missing the third touch. So this is telling me that if we are going to see another push to the upside, that is going to get rejected. And if that gets rejected, it creates a potential for a situation like this, where you either are making an M formation right here, or even an head and shoulder formation. The risk is still very high. Do I consider necessarily a major risk buying spot right now? I don't necessarily think that it's the case. Is this best time possible? Definitely not. Are there still many opportunities? Absolutely, there are. Can you potentially wait it out? That's up to you. That's not financial advice from me. I have a plan for all of this stuff. So you do what you want. I'm showing you guys what it is right now. Total 3 minus Solana, BNB, XRP, USDT, and USDC. Now, here, okay, so you're getting a breakout, okay, from some decent areas, but then again, let me actually align this properly. And as you guys can see, you are having this battle at 239 at $234.79 billion. Right now, you're slightly below. And even there, right, the breakout has not yet taken out this high. So this is sign of either a breakout that is yet to happen, or sign of weakness and potential for reversal back to the downside. And this is all happening under a very important week. That's kind of why I decided to step away for this particular week. Take what I've got. On some things I had to close a break even. On some I have taken losses. On some I had to cut my profits short. Okay, had I held on certain things, it would have been higher right now. But at the same time, I understood the risk of this particular week, and the week is not over, as I said before. There's still many things that could potentially happen. So let me know your thoughts, guys. This is kind of what I have for you guys today. With that being said, make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this type of video. Did I explain things enough? Let me know. Subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you guys when I'll see you guys. Peace.